Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
As we head off the economic cliff, Speaker Thelma and President Louise reach an agreement to tap the budget brakes. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law, in today for Matt Staver. And joining me again in studio is Shawn Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Shawn, there's really no other way to put it. Republicans caved on the budget deal. And here is what is fascinating. You know, Obama, Reid, Boehner got together in these dramatic backroom deals late into the night in the 8 days leading up to the final agreement that was reached to cut the budget for last year's budget. This, keep in mind now, this is we still not have the Democrat-led Congress, House, and Senate would not vote for a budget before the new Congress took their seat. So we're still dealing with last year's budget. $38.5 billion is the amount that was determined and decided and agreed upon. Shawn, in the 8 days leading up to this deal, the federal debt increased by $54.1 billion. Our nation is bleeding to death from multiple wounds, and these guys want to put a Band-Aid on it?
You know, Matt, there's a scene at the end of the play Hamlet where Hamlet is having a sword fight, and he's just barely scratched with a poisoned sword. So he feels fine, everything looks fine, it doesn't look very serious, but he understands that the tip on that blade was poison and that he's reached a point where there's no return, where he's going to die. And he turns to his friend Horatio and he says, "Horatio, I'm dead." And what he means is, no matter what I do right now, I am dead. And frankly, a lot of us that are looking at the United States financial situation are asking how close we're coming to that place where things are irreversible, and yet we still just put the pedal to the metal and run headlong into debt. It tells us a lot, Matt. Well, two things. One is that politicians are willing to sell their souls, and two, what they're willing to sell their souls for. Frankly, this is both a financial miscalculation and a political miscalculation on the part of the Republicans that went along with this change. The people of the United States that we just came through a set of elections where the mandate was, we want smaller government and more conservative leadership. And for this to turn on the funding of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, and that was it.
And that's exactly what it was. That was the sticking point that the Republicans had to give up on, was the funding of Planned Parenthood, which you and I both know. If any of you have a chance to watch the video, My Alpha 21, it'll explain to you that this particular group traces back to Margaret Sanger and the eugenics movement. This is a very pernicious group. It has no business whatsoever receiving 1 cent of money from the United States citizenry. I mean, if people
let alone $350 million a year.
$350 million at a time, Matt, when you see the amount of debt that we're going into on a daily basis. I mean, literally, on March 30th, the United States debt was $14.2101 trillion. By April 7th,
we're cutting $38.5 billion.
That's right. We're going to cut $38.5 billion, but by April 7 of this year, that debt was up to $14.2642 trillion. These are numbers, Matt, that we really can't
Shawn,
even
picture a living room full of pennies, and reach in and grab 3 pennies and pull them out. That's what they're essentially doing here. Shawn, this is going to destroy our nation. We think, we had it bad with the Great Depression. We're on a trajectory right now that is completely unsustainable. What does that mean? That people are saying, a lot of analysts are saying this could be worse than the Great Depression, and they're not willing to do what needs to be done to turn this around. And you mentioned the unconscionable continued funding of Planned Parenthood out of your and my and everyone listening right now, out of their hard-earned funds, out of their wallet, their taxpayer dollars going to fund these abortion monsters. And Lila Rose just spoke recently at Liberty University. She has busted Planned Parenthood over and over and over again, revealed them to be the racist organization that we always knew they were. White supremacist Margaret Sanger, eugenicist Margaret Sanger was their founder, basically said that a big part of their goal was to get rid of the Negro population, was essentially to...
Those are her words, by the way.
To cut out all the riffraff. Planned Parenthood has been caught agreeing with potential donors that they would take the monies and apply them specifically to abort black babies so that they could reduce the black population. Lila Rose caught 7 different Planned Parenthood locations collaborating and conspiring with who they believe to be sex traffickers of children as young as 13 years old, agreeing to provide them with STD services, abortions. Hey, we'll look the other way. We could care less that you guys are pimps and prostitutes trafficking children in sex slavery. This is Planned Parenthood. This is what this organization is made up of. And Speaker Boehner agrees to continue the funding of Planned Parenthood. This isn't going to cut it. Apparently, they didn't see what happened in 2010. I know the Tea Party, I hear the rumblings. Evangelicals, conservative Christians are furious over this. And, Republicans better get it together because this is strike one.
Well, and let's look at the electoral miscalculation on this, Matt. Here's what these Republicans thought they were facing is this. That the Democrats definitely wanted a government shutdown here because it was political hay. The fact is, if these up to this point popular new Republicans were to be able to be framed as the cause of a government shutdown, which quite frankly very few people would have noticed. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to go to the Smithsonian, but soldiers would have still been paid. The major sources would have still been funded. It wouldn't have been the government shutdown in the sense that we think of. But they're thinking that if we get blamed for a government shutdown, then it's going to be bad for us electorally. So they cave on Planned Parenthood. Here's the miscalculation. The people in the United States that put them into office this time are not largely just dyed-in-the-wool Republican adherents.
Absolutely.
What
there are
they
Democrats
did
in
was
the Tea
they
Party
put
there,
in conservatives who would lead conservatively. So I hate to wake everybody up. This is not a Republican and Democrat thing. This is a liberal and conservative thing. This is a common sense thing. So what I'm telling you is that whether you're a Republican in office or a Democrat in office, your seat is not safe. They will run somebody against you who will stand up for the rights of the unborn. They will run someone against you who will cut the budget. Come on, Matt. When we're looking at a time when we're going into this much debt and everybody in the nation agrees that we're spending ourselves into oblivion, but we don't know where to cut, can't we at least get together on funding of taking the lives of unborn children? Can't we at least get together on cutting those funds? I mean, come on.
Well, the good news is that Representative Paul Ryan is at least taking a step in the right direction, proposing for the 2012 budget $6 trillion in cuts. Now we're getting somewhere. Still not enough. More needs to be done. But, Sean, saving America should be a bipartisan effort here. The writing is on the wall. This is not objective analysis shows that we are literally heading off the economic cliff here. And this is an issue of national security, folks. If we have another depression, there are many nations out there that would love nothing more than to see the demise of the United States of America. Yet we have socialists in Congress, in the White House, that would rather see America weakened and embrace a Euro-style secular socialism that embraces a culture of death through Planned Parenthood and abortion, that embraces the redistribution of wealth, rather than getting our financial business in order Pray for the nation, folks. Pray for those leaders in Congress that they would have the fortitude, the guts to move forward with significant cuts to get this economy spurring on again, to create jobs, to undo the Obamacare monstrosity, and most importantly, to defund the Planned Parenthood abortion juggernaut. Go to lc.org to learn how you can become part of our mission to defund Planned Parenthood at Liberty Counsel, or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. Join with Liberty Counsel as we fight to save America.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.